there is another issue that Fidel, which he talks about in his reflections of the 21st of September, and its relation to climate change. And I'd like to take a few minutes on this issue. There are some people who sort of think that this is not true, that it's just some idea of some intellectuals, but no, we are destroying this planet. This is something that we need to look at. We are destroying this planet. Here Fidel says, and I would like to read in relation to his reflections on the 21st of September. And Fidel said, in relation to the United Nations Climate Change Conference in Rio de Janeiro, myself as the head of the Cuban state, there is a species that is on the brink of extinction, that is human beings. And Fidel Castro continues, and there I was present also with other presidents such as George Bush. We don't have centuries to deal with this problem. We don't have 70 or 80 years, which was an illusion that we had longer time. But the effects of this climate change are now visible. For example, average temperature has increased since 1980. These are scientific facts. And there's also many other studies by NASA. For example, a 0.8 degree increase in temperature in the last 30 years. And also the last 2 decades of the 20th century were the hottest in hundreds of years. And also the melting of the ice caps continues to increase. And for example, we are seeing in the northern parts of the world where we have winter without ice, and also polar ice caps, and also other areas where ice is melting, and also a problem with water not being distributed. There's also problems with carbon dioxide amounts in the atmosphere have increased, and it's something that is increasing dramatically. We are destroying our planet. We need to realize that, and we have to act. As President Lula said yesterday, for example, there is no urgency to change by the developed countries, but you need to do things. You can't just talk about it, Mr. President. We have to save the human race, and I hope that in the next conference in December, and hopefully we can have resolutions which are useful, and Venezuela will help, and we call from Venezuela to make decisions that will reflect proportionally our situation. We are consuming our natural resources, carbon, coal, oil. We are consuming them in less than a century, and they took centuries to build up. And this is all about the economy. I'm not going to read this. I'm just going to refer to this booklet, and I'd like to invite other people to analyze this. And this is an information booklet that's very useful. But I'd like to say Just one thing. It has 12 recommendations. Let's evaluate them, because I think they are very important. They don't question the capitalist system. We as socialists do question that, but let's have a look at this anyway. Let's have some sort of consensus for the future. For example, this information booklet says the first recommendation to look at the question of resources and to understand how much we can live under. Let's also look at other issues of the family and of our cultural heritage, and also look at other issues of non-commercial distribution. We need to also have a look at the question of housing and children's rights. And we need to have to look at how we account for things, how we account the gross domestic product. It can't be just in the form of a capitalist system. The GDP has to be looked in other ways. While GDP increases, while other problems in society continue to increase. Why does we also have to look at other issues? The more consumption of petrol, we have more problems with the environment. Capitalist economies are very destructive, and so it's very important to reflect. For example, look at some issues at the climate change in relation to the economy. This information booklet is very useful. Let's look at this, particularly the governments which are developed. And there's also in relation to the country of the G20, the presidents of the G20. There's other conferences such as the Africa South America conference that is happening in Venezuela. We are socialists, but let's discuss the issues of production. As Obama said yesterday, as part of this fourth pillar, that is that we need an economy that is supports human beings. Well, that is socialism. Well, Obama, I invite you to become a socialist. Let's make sure that we have an economy that serves human beings. That is socialism. It's not capitalism. Capitalism excludes the majority. It's all about the minority, and destroys the world, destroys human beings. And so, finally, Mr. President, Lula. Finally, I'm going to finish with Lula by a phrase, by a comment from him, which he said yesterday. There is no political will, and I've already commented on this, and I know Lula, and I understand him, and he's calling on everyone to develop a political will. And ourselves, those who don't want change, even though there is a great crisis happening, ourselves in South America, we have a lot of political will, and also throughout Venezuela, and also all around South America, we want change, real change. And I would like to recommend to you